Well, ODM young legislators have vowed revolution against the old guards, saying that it's high time leadership is given to them within the party. Now, this raises the big question across the country. Are we looking at the downfall of the oldest, strongest, and the longest serving political party in Kenya, that is ODM? To help me tackle this question, I'm always joined in by the man himself, Professor Herman Manyora, a political analyst, the president of Nairobi Review, and the founder of the channel. Prof, welcome on set. How are you doing,
sir?
Thank you.
I'm doing well.
Wow, you're looking good.
Yeah, thank you.
Was it a memo? Today we were doing recordings, you and Jadiel, all in blue shirts.
Correct.
You didn't give me the message.
You didn't get the memo. You'll be sacked.
Okay, now before we answer the question on whether are we looking at the downfall of Orange Democratic Movement, Professor, now the question one might want to ask, Prof, is what has kept ODM intact for a very long time?
You know, ODM is a movement, Orange Democratic Movement, and not just by the name. The sort of ideals for which the party stands are the sort of things that can endure time. Okay. Yeah, because it's about transforming this country. It's about changing this country. It's about ensuring we expand the democratic space. We have good governance, better electoral systems, and generally the country moves in the right direction in matters of economy, so that the Kenyans can realize the potential and they can benefit from that which God in his wisdom has put within their boundaries, their borders. Yeah, that's what ODM is about. And that kind of thing, you cannot wish it away. It cannot be like a party you have put together just to get power, like PNU and these others, TNA and the rest. It can withstand time.
Okay.
Yeah.
The wrangles that we're having within ODM, is it something that was expected after the election?
Of course. Parties will always, after going through such a monumental thing like an election, there will be soul searching, there will be traitors, there will be people betraying their cause, there will be people who want to jump out, there will be all manner of things. It becomes worse when a party has lost an election. So,
okay, then it's quite interesting that people are still fighting for positions in this party, where else they should actually be bargaining for positions in the government. But Prof, why are people fighting for positions in this party, whereas they lost the election?
It's normal. People want power, even small power, even cheap power. And it's not always the case that when you have an ideology, you have a cause. It's not always the case that a majority of the people within that party or that movement share the ideology and the thinking and the cause. Otherwise, they will not be doing the kind of things they are doing. They'll be looking at the injury occasioned to the party through this loss. They'll be looking at a battle lost. They'll be knowing a war is bigger than a battle. They'll be looking at how to go forward. But because they do not share in the ideologies, they don't even understand some of them. You have to forgive them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is bringing up this argument between the young Turks and the old guards, Prof?
It's always like that. Young people always think they know everything. We have been young ourselves. We thought we knew everything.
And don't you think it's high time, perhaps, sorry for cutting you short, it's high time that the old guards actually give room for these young Turks?
Sometimes it's not as easy as that. Sometimes, but you see, the best thing to look at this thing is that it's about power, in whichever way you look at it. Even within a movement, there are always the leadership issues. There are people who think they can just be leaders of a political movement. They may not share the aspirations of the movement. They may not be part of, they may not even understand the history, the challenges, the ideology, the philosophy, and yet they want to be in the leadership. So power in general is not something to be given. So these young people, if they want power, why can't they just get it?
Okay. Okay, now looking at some of the biggest politicians in this country, looking at the likes of William Ruto, Uhuru, we have Musalia Mudavadi, we have Moses Wetangula, all have been at some point been at ODM, Prof. Now, in the coming future, are we likely to have the likes of Babu Owino leaving this political party?
It's possible. It's possible. But these are young people. The country belongs to them. The future belongs to young people. They could be the ones who take over. But sometimes they may behave like a Babu Namwambas. There was so much talk about Anyang' Nyong being the Secretary General, being old, they should leave to young people like Babu Namwamba, but look at what they did. They finally betrayed the party and the movement and the cause. They went to bed with the enemy.
But clearly, ODM...
Sometimes, look at Russia. When Russia decided it is possible to have a younger person be head of be secretary of the party and what we now call the president of Russia, USSR then, and they open up room for younger people, beginning with a 60-somebody-year-old. I think that was Yuri Andropov, who was considered relatively young. But when they moved to the likes of Mikhail Gorbachev, look, Soviet Union collapsed. So you may think it's good to give to young people, but they may not share in the ideals and the thinking, the ideology, the philosophy, the history, the struggle. They may be seeing just power for what power is. And when you try them, they have always found, sometimes they are found wanting. So I don't think the solution in ODM is simply to say, let's give young people leadership. That to me would be cheap.
Perhaps it should be shared. 50-50.
You know, I think you earn respect, you earn those positions, you struggle to get them.
Don't you think someone like Babu Owino has under position to get a higher position in the ODM?
If you asked me, I would say no. He has a few issues which may render it difficult for him to be mainstreamed as the leadership of the party. He has to handle a few of those issues first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you agree then with the ODM officials saying that John Mbadi is the person to take ODM to the next level?
I have never...
He was actually nominated.
To take it to the next level as the leader of the party?
Yeah.
If you ask me, he does not have the stature to be in charge of such a big party. He's a good person, he's capable, he can do good things. If Raila had won, I would not have been surprised if he was the minister in charge of Interior. He can do, he's capable. He can handle the Public Accounts Committee. But in terms of a party that wants to get power in an environment that are hostile, such as ours, you need a person with a name, a bigger name than Mbadi. Mbadi doesn't have that name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now Babu Owino was promised a position, Prof. But later on, yes, they revoked that promise.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe Raila knew he was going to win. So Mbadi would have been a minister, in fact, in charge of Interior.
Now, what do you do, Prof? You had
now that Raila didn't win, you revert back, you go back. You give Mbadi the next available thing. And Babu Owino must go back to wait a bit. He must toe the line.
Okay.
But again, let us also be honest. You know, the Public Accounts Committee is a position of responsibility. Is a serious position of oversight. I'm not seeing Babu Owino having the this English is becoming a problem. He doesn't have the believability. I'm not seeing people believing him heading such a powerful committee. It will just seem like a joke. He was doing very well until one or two bad things happened to him. So he has to deal with those things first.
Okay.
And then, we need to tell people the truth. It's important for this country. See, young people, this is their country. Let them not be in a hurry. This was can leave them and then they watashindwa. Yeah. I mean, look at a big party like ODM, like Azimio, telling the country we are giving the Public Accounts Committee to a Babu Owino. My friend, it's a very difficult sell.
Why are you...
I've explained he is coming up as a good young man. He's my friend, he's my student, my friend. He's coming up very well. Then some funny thing, bad things happened. You have to deal with that part because of image first. If a big thing like Azimio then decides the most serious position in terms of oversight is given to a person like that as opposed to Mbadi, you cannot convince people you are serious. But they can give him. I have no problem. Let them give him. I think he's okay. He deserves it. Let them get it. But if you ask me, it will be a wrong move to do.
Now, then how does the old guards in ODM calm the young tax, Prof?
There are two ways you can give them a few small things here and there. You can sit them down, you can counsel them, you can advise them, you can also lecture them, you can also tell them off. You can tell them off. You can tell Babu, you are very popular, yes. 2027 is not very far. You stand on your own. Leave ODM. You stand. Let's see if you get it. You will not get. He didn't get because he's popular. Babu Owino is very popular. But if he didn't go with ODM and Raila's name, he could not have won that seat. I know he would say no. They say no politicians. Me, I'm popular. Try. How many have tried? Try and see. And even if you know you are ambitious and you are looking at leadership of the Luo nation, of this country, of ODM, you have to play it carefully. Appreciate certain weaknesses you have, certain shortcomings, and work on them. Then that may help you in the future. Like I talked about Sakaja, you may think you have succeeded, but some of the things will come to haunt you, and your journey to success will be cut short abruptly in a bad way. So sometimes you stop, take stock, and deal with the issues. Then you proceed. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about.
Okay, now there are about 4 positions in the National Assembly, maybe 4 in the Senate.
Yes.
Now, how do you share this among the ODM, which is the majority in Parliament, and other political parties that form the coalition?
So there's Azimio. They should sit as Azimio. Azimio as an organ, where Uhuru is the chairman, Raila was the presidential candidate, and there are people like Junet Mohammed. Then let them sit and decide the best way of sharing. I also don't like this idea of everything going to a Luo. Sometimes these people do themselves a lot of disservice. They want everything, and yet you want others to support you when you want power. That's not the way to go. So, Pio and I, John Badi, Luo, no! Speak of the Nairobi County Assembly, Luo, no! Give other people, so that when you want them to support you, they also show you embrace them. So, there's a question of, if you are in Azimio, must everything go to ODM? The answer is certainly no. If you are in ODM, must everything go to a Luo? The answer is certainly no. You have to balance these things to show the other people. Because who tells you Raila will not run next time? Who tells you? So even as you say, who is the Speaker of the Nairobi County Assembly? Who is the leader of majority? Who is leader of Parliamentary Accounts Committee and other big committees? Who is Chief Whip? As you say those things, know that tomorrow Raila could be running for office. And you will want the Kamba to support.
Someone would want to ask this question: if Raila decides to exit the political decides to move away from ODM, leave politics aside, Prof, do you think ODM could hold?
Those are things that will be dealt with when that time comes. Because that's not how politics works. Politics does not work that, it's not like the Labour Party saying, so when so and so leaves, there are 3 front runners. It's very difficult. We are in a different terrain. That time has to come. Even those who say Raila should anoint a successor, groom, that's not how things work. At least not in our environment. People will have to come up themselves. Hakuna kusema ati Raila atakupatia. You come up. You can even take over when he's still alive. When he's still in, he can want to continue, but you challenge him and you take it. Why don't you do it?
We look at an example of PNU when the former president of Kenya, Mwai Kibaki, left the political arena, Prof. The political party collapsed. Looking at Jubilee, people knew that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was walking away from politics. The political coalition collapsed. Is it the same thing? The
collapse of ODM will mean the end of the struggle for this country, because ODM is synonymous with the struggle for change in this country. It represents the progressive side of things in this country. ODM is just another political party. That's why it is with Raila. It's something to do with Raila Odinga, who is synonymous with the struggle for change in this country. So you cannot look at ODM in the manner you look at PNU, Jubilee, TNA, and this small, even UDA. No, these are parties put together to get political power. To get political power is not what ODM is majorly about. Majorly, ODM is about change. Yeah.
Now, starting for the Prof, what does Raila Odinga need to do? What does he need to do to keep the party together?
Oh, well, he will have to talk to the young politicians, be understanding and accommodative, understand that unlike Ruto and Uhuru, who have just one community or two communities with all the numbers you need, he has numbers from across the country, and you need to put these people together. It's a really challenge. And also, there must be a purpose for existence. If ODM survives just there, limiting itself to the affairs in parliament, it could easily die. It must keep the bigger picture, which is the struggle for change in this country, which must be fought beyond parliament. Yes.
Now, as we wrap up the conversation, from where you're standing, Prof, how you're reading the situation, do you think, do you see ODM lasting any longer?
It will be there for a while. Even Raila will be there for a while.
Okay.
I can bet, I know for sure Raila will be there for a while. Inshallah, if God gives him health, good life, he'll be there for a while. Those who are wishing him away are wasting their time.
They should get used to seeing Raila around.
Raila is still around. They should get used to it. ODM is around. They should get used to it. And I've been telling people, any government that goes into power in 2027, 2032, 2022, thinking it's a 5-year term, they are dreaming. Going forward, these 5-year terms are going to be challenged midstream. We are going to see people going home, our president going home after 2 years, after 1 year, after 3 years, as we move forward into this country. So they must really keep their eyes on the ball. Yeah. And that's in that context, you can see ODM playing a very big role beyond the parliament. You can see Raila playing a very big role. Beyond the parliament, there will be issues of constitutional changes. There will be issues of reforming institutions that have failed the people of Kenya, like IBC, the judiciary, the need to be panel beaten here and there. So those kind of things are sufficient to keep Raila Odinga and ODM right in the middle of things. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's a good point.
And to give the government of the day a run for their money. And to always sleep knowing government can go the following day. Constitutionally. This is the point I've been trying to make the last 6 months or more. That we are moving away from a fixed 5-year term. You begin looking at things in terms of how you'll win 27. No, you'll go in ministry. This is the new Kenya we are having. So anybody wishing Raila away or ODM away, you could see an election is there next year. It's quite possible. Yeah.
And do we wrap up the conversation at that?
Yeah, at that.
That's a good
It's
point.
a good place to stop.
Okay.
To keep Ruto and Rigathi and all my other friends on their toes, to know that it's not 5 years. There's nothing fixed about 5 years. It can be a year, it can 2 years, we can send you home.
They have to keep watch.
Yeah.
Well, according to Prof, ODM, Raila are here to stay. What do you think? Tell us through the comment section. Well, till you have the next episode of The Big Question. Enjoy the rest of your day.